Right now we're going to solve this system of equations. This one's a little bit unique because it's got three different variables. It's got an x, a y, and a z. And these same rules would apply no matter what the three variables are, a, b, or c, r, s, or t, any of those. Alright, now the goal here, this looks pretty daunting and it's a fairly complicated one, so you want to go slow on these. But the main goal behind these is to reduce it to two equations having two variables. You've solved several of those in the past through our systems of equations. So that's our goal. If we can reduce this thing to two different variables and two equations, it will make our life a lot easier. And then we're going to back plug in, or we'll go back in and plug it all in backward, if you will. So let's look at this one here. My goal is to eliminate either all my x's, all my y's, or all my z's. It doesn't really matter which one we want to do. I just take a quick glance here. Let's see, this one I'm going to have to multiply some by. This one, I've got all 2's. That will make it nice. This particular one I'm going to have to multiply some other stuff by. So it looks like my y's are the ones that are going to be the easiest to eliminate. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to combine equations number 1 and 2 to eliminate my y's. So here's my equation 1, here's my equation 2. I'm just going to rewrite both of those down here so I have a little bit of room to work. Okay, they're the exact same equations, I just rewrote them here. Now if I do this, I can add these two together and eliminate my y's, which is what my goal is. Okay, we're going to try to reduce it to two equations with just two variables. So I've got this one here. If I eliminate my y's here, I'm going to add these. This would be x plus x gives me 2x. 3z minus z would give me 2z, and this would equal 14. 13 plus 1 is 14. So I get a 2x plus 2z equals 14, which is fantastic. Now I'm going to rewrite this over here just so I have a little bit of room. Okay, but that's where this equation came from. Right here, I just rewrote it up here. Now I'm doing pretty good. I've got one equation with two variables. I've got to reduce it to two equations with two variables. Okay, so now I need to go back up here, and I need to look at this one. I say, okay, again, I've selected x's and z's. That means I'm going to need to eliminate my y's. Now I can't use the same exact 1 and 2 again because I just have that here. So I've got to pick a different one. I can go 1 and 3. I can go 2 and 3. If I do 2 and 3, that's 2 and 2. I'm going to have to multiply everything by a -1, which isn't too bad. However, if I take 1 and 3, I don't have to multiply it by anything. So that's going to be my easiest route here because I already have a -2 and a +2. So I'm going to combine equations 1 and 3. I rewrote them down here just so that I have the room, but they're the exact same equation that I have up here. I just rewrote them. Now if I add these together, I will eliminate my y's again. Okay, so I've got x and 3x gives me 4x. 3z minus 5z would be -2z, and 1 plus 3 would be 4. Okay, so this, now my y's are gone as well. This is fantastic. I'm going to take this, I'm going to rewrite it up here. That way I have room to work. Okay, so this worked out really well for me so far. I've accomplished my first goal, which is to reduce it to two equations with two variables. So I've got my two equations and two variables. I'm going to rewrite those up to the top here just because it's going to take up so much room here. So this is the same one. All I did is I rewrote it with up top really is it. Okay, now that I have this, we've been solving these quite a bit. If I have this system of equations, all I want to do is eliminate one of them so I can find out what the other value is. I'm going to combine these. The way I'll eliminate these, I'll just add these. 2 plus 4 gives me 6x. 2z minus 2z gives me my zeros. That's perfect. It eliminated those just nicely. And then 4 and 14, of course, is 18. So 6x equals 18, which means if I divide by 6 on both sides, x would equal 3. Okay, now that I found out that my x equals 3, that works out really nice. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use this equation, not my original one here, because this has got y's in it. I have no idea what the y's are. But I'm going to plug it back into one of these two equations here to determine what my z value is. Okay, I'm going to choose the first one just because I have to choose one. I rewrote it exactly the same here. Now I'm going to plug in 3. Instead of x, I'm going to write 3 so I can find out what my y value is. So 2 times 3 gives me my what my original 2x was. So 2 times 3 plus 2x equals 14. 6 plus 2, or excuse me, 2z, excuse me. 6 plus 2z equals 14. Now I'm just going to solve it for z. Okay, I move my 6's onto the other side. I find out that 2z equals 8. I divide both sides by 2. I find out that z equals 4. Okay, now I have my x value and a z value. This is working out really well. Now all I need to do is find my my y value. Okay, now in order to do this, I'll take one of these three original equations because all three of these have y's in them. And I'm going to plug in my x and my z values, excuse me. So I took my first equation here and I just rewrote it exactly as it appeared up here. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in x and z to find out what my y is. I know that my x is 3, so I'm going to plug that in right here. I know that my y, well, I don't know y. I know that my z, though, is 4, so I'm going to plug that in right here. So I plug those in. Notice that this is purple here, and this one is green. That's where they came from. Okay, so 3, and now I'm just going to simplify it just a little bit further. 3 minus 2y plus 12 equals 1. Now I'm just going to solve this one for y just like you would any other equation. I combine those two together. That's negative 2y plus 15 equals 1. Subtract 15 from both sides. I find out that 2y equals negative 14. Divide both sides by negative 2. That tells me that y equals 7. Now this worked out really well so far. I know that my x value is negative 3. Okay, I got that from right up here. My z value is 4, but first my y value is 7, and then my z value is 4. Now when you want to write these on the online system at the end, when you're done with it, you've got to write them as a section, which means that you're going to have all of your parentheses in there. So this is my x value. Remember, it's always in alphabetical order. X, my y value, then my z. This would be your final answer. This is what you're going to type in. It'll be parentheses 3, comma 7, comma 4, close parentheses, no spaces.